everybody? Okay. It says the content of this meeting is being sent to a third something. Third.
That's the live stream.
Okay. Okay. We got it. Okay. Come together and breathe. Heart breath. Oh, good. There's Joe Gian Diddy. Saw Tom. Okay. So inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Om Namo Namo Om
Namo
Namo Om Namo Namo Ankara Jagankara Sankara Namaste Guru Namaste Ankara Jagankara Namaste Sankara Namaste Sri Guru Namaste Ankara Jagankara Namaste Sankara Namaste. Long deep breath. Good. Okay. Now, as you know, this oh, hi. There's Honey Mender. Okay. So as you know, we will we'll stop our session at 12:45. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Oh yeah, and I'm going to tell you this very quickly, I hope, that remember this this exercise, yoga exercise that talks about your uh, without eating, and that's the one with your tongue to go way back on your roof. And what you get is not actually in the what are they?
Sinuses.
Yeah, it's not that, but it's helping, is working with the spinal.
Synovial spinal fluid.
You got it. Okay. And because it's an amazing situation, because, Yogi Bhajan was always talking about hypothalamus. Well, that's because this spinal fluid moves through the hypothalamus that moves, and it has amazing, it's called nuclei, for uh, for telling them uh, for having um, uh, I'm sorry, for food, for water, for um, uh, waste, uh, water, and so on. So they're amazing. Okay. So now, today we are talking with Baba Siri Chand, and this is going to listen to, um, this is for today, the concept is for stillness, silence. Do you hear that? Do you understand
Mhm.
that? Okay, good. Okay. So we'll have 3 minutes meditation and continue.
Yeah, okay. Oh, video.
What?
I muted her.
You muted a person?
Yes, it was jokey on Debbie, and she had background noise, so I just pushed mute.
Okay. Mm. And inhale and exhale. And because we don't have as much time, we'll just have um, maybe around 5 minutes to 8 minutes. Okay, you ready? Okay, Agha Paul.
Okay. Well, silence. All I could hear was Simon and Garfunkel's song, Sounds of Silence.
Yeah, me too.
And and Hello Darkness, my old friend. Um and I so there's a lot of sounds in silence, and that I think our own senses can't pick up, but there's a feeling, there's a vibration from silence, and sometimes silence is very healing, and other times silence, hello darkness, it's very well, scary in some sense, to me, for me. And but all in all, I felt like that was a real gift. Once I got my mind to settle down, because my mind is just full of a lot of non-silent thoughts, once I got my mind to settle down, and I was focusing on, nature and the beauty of nature, I started feeling, um, I started, it felt healing to me. So, yeah, so the both sides of silence, um, and the beauty and the peace, but as well as the absence of, um, just like emptiness, the absence of anything. So, that's what I have to say. And
Mhm.
then, and I'm also thank you for that, because I'm also going to spend some more time on my own. Um, and sometimes I run from silence. I want to talk to somebody, or I want to do something, or I want to hear something, because this is where soul speaks to me. And sometimes it's hard to hear what soul has to say. And so, but sometimes soul speaks to me, and I don't, and sometimes I just can, not listen, and just be very silent. So that's where I am. I mean, I think this is a huge topic. I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say.
Mm, wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, dear.
Mhm.
Okay, this is Gihanda Sprim.
Satnam.
Satnam.
So for me, with the stillness, from Baba Siri Chand and of this, so the practicing of being in stillness and that quietness, and also within this practice that we do of that, um, when we push up on our palate or the top, for me, it was search around like for the inside of your mouth and see the way to go and try to, because it's something it's going to exercise parts of your tongue that you normally wouldn't do, but you're searching for the back part of your mouth, right? And then you're pressing up on it, and you're I was seeing a picture of my brain, like that vibration at first. When you come into starting that, it may be a little difficult. So we'll do it a little bit at a time. And then through the practice, there will come a stillness, right? This is the place where we're trying to find in the circle, right? There's a way through a certain thing. The soft, strong was really coming to mind, and that stillness of coming back to the breath, you know. And for me, with the practice, it was almost like I was brought to the Ardas Bahi, and that,
Mhm.
you know, that celebration of that realization of, and returning to that for me, because it's been very powerful through the storytelling and, you know, Nanak, how we're due to give up everything right through our cycle, so that if we can give what we have now through the cycle, that we can become that best version of ourselves, and be able to sit with that in the stillness through the reality of the activation that we're doing here through our DNA in our body, which is how many billions of it's, right. So here we are. The knowing of the science and the genetics and all of that way that energy travels, I think, is becoming a way of receiving the information within the stillness and within the breath, and that celebration of letting go of the words and coming back to that Waheguru, because here we are now, right? But we're still advancing as we go. So I think in so many ways of pushing up on that activation, it gets us to straighten out a little bit, but in that soft, strong, that Satnam, we'll be able to continue the practice of the stillness, the practice, excuse me. And, you know, these simple ways of pushing up on that part, it just gave me the visualization of my brain, of how it sits in my body, right? It's on a stem, and then it comes down through my spine, down to the bottom of where, so if I practice this way of thinking, how my breath comes through my spine and then activates all of this other ways that I'm doing Waheguru, right? Um, Celebrating the infinite now, but also aging like a fine cheese or what have you, with our ability to move back through the universe once again as a non-speaking but vibratory entity, right, through these materials that we're living with, in and on. So Waheguru. And I think in that stillness, it's yeah, it's a finding a way to just become soft, you know, like the sand and the water. Once again, the representations that we're given, the clouds, and yeah, and then to fly like a bird and hear the song and try to share that vibration that we're all here with. Yeah, Waheguru, Waheguru.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you so much. Okay. Jokian Devi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Siri, again, I have a request or something to ask you all. Do you want me to wait at the end and continue on with silence and stay focused?
Huh? Say it again.
I have something that I need you all to pray for.
Okay, what is it?
Would you like to wait till the end after our discussion?
No,
I didn't want
start with discussion now, and then after for your time.
Okay, good enough. So what I got was silence brings you to the inner Christ. It is where we can hear and feel the consciousness of love and feel the Christ consciousness. Trust in this space.
Hmm. Okay. I'm still writing that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, can you talk about that again?
More about it? Let's see. I like the idea of the inner Christ. And well, it's about love. If you take away all religious connotations, and people could get upset about that, but bottom line, we're talking about, where do you find that inner love? And So with the eclipse coming and all the information we're hearing, I just wonder if this isn't what it's all about. That it's a more awareness, a higher awareness of our inner capability of being love. And so that's what I got when I read what I wrote.
But I think that's exactly right. And I think, let's see, the word Christ, what does that mean?
Yeah, for me, I would say it's a consciousness. Well,
There you go.
consciousness. Yeah, it is a love consciousness. It's an overall, and maybe we're being asked now, even though it seems like an intense time period, maybe we're being asked to go right there. What does it take to calm it down? What does it take? Maybe it's as simple. I don't think it's simple really, to be silent so you can hear what the direction, the advice, or the love is.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the ability to connect, and maybe that's the silence, I believe, is the answer to get there. The same with breath. I think between the two of them, you're smack dab in the consciousness. I would think you could get there.
Say it again. Would you
I
say?
would think between the silence, being in silence, can get you to the inner Christ. Oh God, what did I say? I have no idea. Okay, hold on here. Silence.
And basically, it's not the way to get to the event through the times and be to the event. Is that right?
Yes, you can get into, well, if you had to know, felt lost, or it's going to be your inner guide. I think that's what you're going with, and I feel like I'm saying that. There's an inner connection that we're given. I think humanity's given it. All we have to do is be silent, and listen for connect with the consciousness of love. And that sounds like so crazy. If you're in a panic, you're like wanting to sit in some consciousness. I think it's probably the answer.
Yes.
To sit and look for the consciousness of love.
Exactly.
And then feel.
Yeah, excuse me. You said silence and the breath will get you there. That's what I wrote
Thank
down.
you.
I'm pretty sure that's what you said. And
Oh, I'm so
that's
glad you
back
said
to
that.
that Satnam right again. Like, what did Christ do when he was up there? He didn't complain, did he? He's like, okay, this is how I got here. Like, I had the strength to get there in a sense. So the consciousness of, yes, and excuse me, but that's what I got there for you.
No, that's great. Yeah.
Silence and the breath.
In the breath. It's right sitting on our laps.
Isn't
Silence
that
in the breath.
right? Great.
Like the breath carries us there. The silence gives us the space.
Oh, okay.
So we can hear. When we can sit, we can hear, and feel. The breath is the. I see. Yeah, you need them both. Or I need them both.
And what did you say about those two things?
You mean the silence, working with the breath?
Mm-hmm.
So you can. I naturally have always heard the yogic breath. I mean, the breath is very calming. It is. It's a transporter. But then when you add silence to it, boy, that's a very intentional entering into how to get to the inner Christ. Well, there it be. Between the silence, maybe breath is first. No, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I just think they're both tools to get you into what we already know inside of us. How to get there. Between the breath and silence, you're going to get there.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So then we're going to about the healing for somebody?
That'd be me.
Oh, what's happening?
Okay, Jok Yandavi. And my son is in Taiwan with his family. And I think if we could send some of that inner Christ silence and breath to my son and his Taiwanese family. They were at the epicenter of the earthquake, and they are now driving south to be as far away from the rumbles. And then the next thing is to be concerned about the tsunami. But I have no idea where he is, except he said, "I'm okay."
Earthquake in Taiwan.
Yes, he is. He was at the, I don't know how to say it, Hainan, the epicenter.
Injured.
Oh, that's changing like constantly, right?
Right of it, but they haven't had one.
Oh, yes, it was you mean a bad earthquake? Yeah, in 25 years. This is a big one.
Mhm.
But on the good side of it, they have building restrictions and protection codes. So they've done a better job at building. But that's not what it's going to look like when you go online. It doesn't look good at all. But we can still send them blessing and wonderful prayer, and I pray for my son and his family safety. All of them, really, but I really like my son to come home. Yeah.
Okay, so let's give 1 minute and just the same thing that you all have talked about. Okay, this is about your stillness, this space, being present. Feel heart breath. Ready? And continue. And inhale and exhale. And bless you.
Thank you.
Yes. And I just wanted to see Sahej. Hi, Sahej. Okay, so this session is only going to be until the 45-minute for the hour. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Oh, and this happens for Baba Siri Chand. Japa Saraswati, can you talk her?
Sahaj, we tuned in and we're listening for messages on silence from Baba Siddhi Chand.
Yes, that's what it is. Okay, thank you. Okay, now, Japa Saraswati, now it's your turn.
I felt a couple of things, and one of them was remembering in Haiti, how noisy it was, that there were always roosters and trucks, and then when I really tuned in for Baba Siddhi Chand, one message was about being at the bottom of the breath. And what I remembered was the time that I was in class with Jagat Gurukar was teaching in Florida. And we had tuned in, we did Ego Eradicator, and I was sitting in the light of awareness. And I came to the bottom of the breath, and that's when Baba took me to samadhi. This was like, I think it's the only time I have experienced this so far in this lifetime. And it was in the bottom of the breath, and he took me someplace really special. I thought it was heaven, but it was really the Himalayas. And it's because it was this neutral space that we could talk in, that that we could both be in the same space together. That's why it was there. But it was very silent. It was very peaceful. There's a line from Japji when you translate it to English that says long and deep meditation. And what Baba reminded me was like in Haiti, that you can still find the silence inside of us at the bottom of the breath, that it doesn't have to be necessarily silent outside, that there will still be roosters and birds and other sounds outside. And for me, so what I tune into myself, well, because it's easier for me to do it like this, is to take that memory, like a fragrance of being with Baba Siri Chand, and put that sort of vibration around me now. And it feels like it gives me silence on the inside, even when it's not peaceful or quiet outside. That I can take this memory, this remembrance, and the energy of that long and deep meditation, and still find peace in this very chaotic world. I'm one of the other messages that I was feeling is that in the future, there's going to be less silence because there's going to be more people, more roads, more birds and jackhammers and all kinds of things. And that that it's not like something to be, I want to say, almost coveted, like a dark room, that you have to go into a special dark room in order to see only darkness. The same way with silence, that we don't have to go into a special place in order to experience silence, that it's for us to cultivate that feeling of peace and stillness within each of us. And that was the message about at the end of the breath. So it came back to Jagat Guru Kar's class again, because another time that I was at her class, I was in her class, and she did a really good pranayam practice. And then she would have us extend the breath hold constantly, like throughout the practice. And I remember one day at the end of the class, at the end of the breath hold, I thought to myself, gee, I could hold my breath a lot longer than this, And I sat there in that stillness, but then I got dizzy, and that was a big lesson day for me, because I did the rest of the class sitting down. I participated the whole rest of the class, but I didn't stand up because I was like, I'm dizzy. I shouldn't be doing that. And it was still such a wonderful, peaceful, powerful, fantastic practice for me. And it was like me taking that breath hold, or me taking that silence and that stillness, even in the middle of this practice that was a moving practice, that I was able to take that stillness with me. It was like a little gift. I'm sure it was from Baba Siri Chand. And so that's like, that it's for us to cultivate that silence, but it doesn't have to be silent. I think you could get stuck on the idea, oh, I can't meditate here, it's too noisy. I can't do it now. I can't do it now. And, in fact, it's about, like, for me, it's about taking that energy of Baba Siri Chand, and I feel like I bring the energy around me, and it creates the stillness. And I'm reminded of the second yoga sutra, that is Yoga Chitta Vritti Narodaha, which means yoga stills the undulations of the mind. But it's that those undulations of the mind, those vritti, that make the mind a really noisy, chaotic place. And it's through our devoted and really focused practice that that element for silence is like a muscle, you know, like, so if somebody is from a city and they never have silence, the sound of silence is really going to freak them out. They're going to feel antsy around it and they're going to do all kinds of things. Like, I sat with a Buddhist teacher and he loved how silent I could be, that I could just sit in silence for a long time. And it was in New York. So there were a lot of city people around us who were not that quiet sometimes. And it's a muscle that we have to exercise. And as we do more practice with it, we grow our aptitude for silence. And that's what yoga chitta vritti narodaha means, is that, like, as we do our yoga practice, then we begin to still the undulations of the mind.
Well, that's great.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Okay, so now how about Hari Mandir?
You can't hear me, right?
We can hear you.
Really?
I
Huh.
hear you. Does
Okay.
everybody else? I hear you.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out the Zoom part, but it's not
Well,
muted.
you can talk.
Oh,
You can
got-
talk.
I got
We
you.
can hear you.
Thank you. I'm mostly just listening this morning, and what has given me silence and inner peace late has been joint meditations. I have two different groups that occasionally has just a 20-minute meditation, and everybody is doing it at the same time all over. Both of them are not local. Some are different states and some are different communities, and it has just been surprising to me how powerful the silence is in group, by, and this was all by phone or Zoom or whatever. So it's a gift to be able to drop in to a 20-minute silence with other people, no matter where they are, being silent and meditating at the same time. So that's been a gift. And this morning too, I wasn't meditating the same time you were, but that group meditation is helpful.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Hari Mandir. That's great. Thank you so much. And if I had more time, I would love to have all of you to have connected to realize together. Okay. Oh, and I'm sorry, there's another one. Okay, Siri and Sahej, and there's somebody else that we don't know. And I'm sorry to say, excuse me, that this will be the end of this particular session. Okay, and I'm going to tell you again for Baba Siri Chand about stillness, for silence. What happens? You feel it. What happens? And that's what you need at the time for the times, as we said, for the times, and also for the event. Totally silence and stillness. Thank you. Okay, so Suzanne, will you please lead our ending song?
Okay. Everyone take a deep breath and relax. Let your air out. On the inhale, we'll begin. And begin. May the long, I have to go higher, I bet you I went too low. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love around you. And the pure light within you. Guide your way. Guide your way. Guide your way on.
Inhale. And God bless you, all of you, because this is really wonderful. And Japa Saraswati, how do people get the recording again?
Oh, it's on Baba Siri Chand Ashram YouTube channel. If you want it, I will send you a link. I know everybody on here except the last person who came in, and I would love to fill you in on how to connect with us. If you want to stay on the line and chat with me for a minute.
Okay, and then also our next week, on all of our weeks, can you all please come just a little bit more for time, which is 12 Eastern time, okay? Because we want to see you. We want to know with you and Baba Siri Chan. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bless you.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone. It was great.
Have a great week.
Sadnam.
Satnam. Bye.
You know, even though,
Japa, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Japa, I'm still here.
Okay.
and Harimandir is still here, and I think Sahej is still here.
Okay.
I would like
trying to find my unmute button.
Okay.
you found,
Okay.
I can hear you. So I would like to hear from Sahej, just for the rest of us, even though Sir Gian had to leave, what you would say.
Oh, yeah. What would you say, Sahaj?
And we're going to do that also for South City. Okay. God
Okay.
bless you all. Okay.
God bless you.
Bye, Siri Gian. We'll miss you. Mwah.
Bless you.
Did you want to go first, Sut City?
Said Siri isn't connected to audio. I can see she might not be able to hear us.
Oh, okay.
Right now. She may have disconnected because I think she was connected earlier.
Okay. So it's interesting because as I heard the prompt, and I was sort of listening in, the first thing I heard was silence is not the absence of sound. And then Japa Saraswati, you immediately started saying that in essence. And I had been looking out at the river, which right now is very, very still, which is unusual for a river, right? But I could hear all the morning birds, and of course, there's always some movement in water, and the feeling in my body was that silence and stillness were synonymous. And you said so many of the things that I was thinking or hearing, I should say. The sort of unique thing that I guess I would say is towards the end, what I was hearing was this. I was recalling a couple of different times where people that I know who live in big urban settings have said to me, either looking at pictures of Alaska or, hearing me talk about it, have said, "Oh, I could never live there. There's nothing there." I mean, I'm looking at the ocean and mountains and spruce forests as far as the eye can see, and glaciers, and their literal thought is there's nothing there. And that noise is sometimes busyness and movement, and that, like, in that kind of an environment, if you're not moving and you're not talking, you're not doing, then you're not doing anything. So silence and stillness is sort of the opposite of what's valued in that environment. And I didn't particularly draw conclusions about it, but that's what I was seeing, that stark contrast, and that sometimes we can be enculturated into thinking that stillness, which is kind of funny because we sometimes people use the language of like nothingness, or when they're in a meditative state, and that's it's so subjective whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. And that, like, if you're enculturated to believe that you always have to move, do, be the one who's talking, be the one who's suggesting, all of that is not going to allow you the space of silence. And these people, like some of the people have said, "Oh, I couldn't live there. There's nothing there." They're childhood friends of mine. I think are afraid to be alone in their own minds because I've never really had the opportunity for it. It's just I don't know. So again, no conclusions. That's pretty much me today. And that, and then again, that stillness and silence kind of go hand in hand.
Siri Gian would say, "Very good, dear."
Thanks for prompting me again this morning. I woke up with a raging sinus headache, so it took me a while to come to.
Oh no.
That's okay. It's just a thing.
Yeah, I send the links out to about 10 different people, and I started doing it because at first I wasn't even sure if the links would change, and then I wanted to make sure that that people, like, that it didn't fall through the cracks, if the links did change, that everybody felt included. And now people, I think, like to get them, but if you would prefer to not receive them, just let me know and I will stop sending them. But otherwise I'll just keep you on the list, and you should, but it's the same link every week.
Hey, wait a minute. Did you guys sing happy birthday to Huddy Munder?
Oh,
Is it her
today?
birthday?
This is Huddy Munder's birthday season.
Yes.
Wow.
Happy birthday, Gio.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's a big one.
What's the big one?
I turned 80 on Friday.
Hey, how does that feel? What's it feel like?
Feels wonderful. I'm so glad to be out of my 70s.
Oh, really? 70s were rough, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that, because I actually think, why wouldn't it be wonderful? And I guess if you're in hell, that could happen, but I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah. Well, in the 70s, the 7-year cycle, the 11-year cycle, and the 18-year cycle all come together in 1 week.
Oh,
No, one.
wow.
the 70s. And so the 30s and the 50s and the 70s, big change how you look at the world, changes within your body, within your mind, within your spiritual knowledge, or which your spiritual awareness, everything changes. So I'm, I'm happy to have that behind me.
What in the 80s, what's about then? It's going to be about gathering it all up.
I don't know yet. I mean,
I thought you were describing, you were just evaluating what it is for the 30s and the 70s. Whoa, what perspective.
Well, those are the big changes. And in regular culture, we say it's the midlife crisis, whether it's the mid 30s or the mid 50s. But there's another big major life crisis in the mid 70s because of the numerology. So the next big physical changes would be 90. Physical change would be 90. And every 7 years, we have a different spiritual understanding within ourselves, and it changes.
Wow.
And so 88 would be another 11-year cycle, which is how you look at the world. But it's the glumping together in the 30s and the 50s and the 70s where everything changes all at once, and it can be a challenge.
I guess so.
So I'm figuring.
I love that.
I'm ahead of a lot of, I was ahead of the women's movement. I was ahead of the different movements, the yoga movement. I'm ahead at this point, and I don't know what the lay of the land is. And I'm interested in talking with other 80-year-olds to see what has changed in the nervous system, what's changed in the way we look at silence and breath and that kind of thing. How we deal with what's going on inside, and so that's.
I have someone who's 80 something, and I think she would be a wonderful soul to talk to. If you would like, we could communicate.
Sure.
She picked up sailing at 50 while she was waiting for her daughter to get divorced. She went to Canada to give her privacy. She sat on a boat, decided to learn why she's waiting, became a sailor. That lady taught me how to sail the Canadian waters. She's wonderful. She's an off the edge, amazing person.
Well, in my mid-50s, I discovered Kundalini yoga. So
yeah, like that. It's just amazing. Gosh, and then guess what? You get to be with all of us. Remember when we were in Tulum? Tulum was fun on one side, not on the other, but fun on one side. I loved it. So you give me hope. I love hearing that. We don't say that a lot in America. I don't think I hear a lot about age, but I don't hear like this positive thought process. I can hear it from certain people.
That's why I was so grateful to be with my mom and her friends, because they were all in their late 80s and early 90s, and they were the funniest, snappiest, smartest. They were the most fun people to hang out with.
Yeah, I love that.
Right. And I grew up in a culture where that was a given, but that was the mass culture around me, that is not. And I worry about that. I worry about that for myself. But Huddy Munder, you give me great hope, and you're part of my community, so that's great.
Yeah.
Means we get to hang out.
Yeah. Where did Siri Gian go? Is she going on a trip or something?
I'm not sure. I think she might have had an appointment or something, and she told us last week that she wanted us to start at 11:45, and I totally dropped the ball and forgot, and I did not start the meeting at 11:45. So we got an abbreviated meeting today, and she didn't say more than that, which I'm glad because she's living her best life. I've had a couple of good Zoom calls with her in the recent, like, say, month or two, and she looks fabulous. She showed me like a painting that she did on the wall of her apartment that was right next to her computer. Her apartment is fabulous. I'm really, really happy and proud for her that she's doing as all of the wonderful things that she wants to be doing. So yay, Siri Gian.
Right. So you're telling me TeleTalks is changing their time.
No, it was just for today.
Oh, well, she went through it pretty good. I mean,
Yeah,
oops.
and we just started at 12 and then she had to leave at 12:45. But
All right.
next week we'll be at noon again. I mean, not that I forgot to start at 15 minutes early today. I have another meditation that's right before this, so it's already a little bit of a tight squeeze, and I just didn't I meant to put the reminder on my phone and I didn't do it.
Okay, so we'll see you next Wednesday at 11 still.
At noon. Well, I don't
You
know what
change
time zone you're in. You're in
Central.
Texas time?
Central
Yeah,
time.
so it's 11 o'clock for you. It's noon for me.
Okay.
It's 8 a.m.
Yeah, we're the early birds, Honey Munder.
It's 8 a.m. for you guys?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Oh, wow, that gives me some respect for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
By the way, is this recording still on?